Oh, that's great. What about the debates fired you up? Like you said, you agreed more with Hillary Clinton, but it was there. I mean, a lot of people might agree with one or the other, but that doesn't really push them into doing anything about it.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't I don't know. I guess I first of all really like debates in general. Um, I think they're really intellectually interesting as to like you kind of hear two different perspectives, you hear reasoning behind them, and then the audience can make up their own mind. Obviously, that's not what happens at presidential debates. That's just like
Mm.
they're just kind of like trying to get um their like sound bites. Um, but I don't know. I think it's like the issues they were talking about were just so like broad and so important to the lives of everyday working Americans that I was like, wow, like I have to pay attention to this. Like this is what the future is. This is what, and I guess it was at that point probably I don't know. Maybe Donald Trump was like kind of an entertainment factor. Like I was like, oh, I want to watch
Mm.
this. I want to see what he says.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what kind of like pulled me in more at that time. But then the reason I continued was I was like, wow, like if we really want to change anything in our society, at this point, I mean, I don't know anymore, but at this point, at that point, I was like, the most important thing to do is look at electoral politics and see how we can, change who's there to then achieve the goals we want to. Now, I'm not so sure about if electoral politics is the method to get there, but it's still really important. So yeah,
So now where do you stand? What do you think is the most important thing
I I
to
don't know.
do?
There's just so many barriers in electoral politics
Mhm.
with incumbents and I mean so many. And then there's also just, but I think that it's still a great avenue to achieve widespread change. I don't really know any other way you can affect change in a meaningful, broad way if it wasn't through the government or through like our political system, which is why I'm so interested in politics. I don't really I guess like some people are interested in like just like politics as like people and like the politicians and like their polling. I don't really care about that. I care about like who's in, what's the composition, do we have the votes? Like that's what I care about. In terms of like how it's a vehicle to get something accomplished. And at this point, nothing's getting accomplished. So it's like, is it worth it to keep believing in the system if it's not getting anything done?